greetings to all our viewers in Nigeria and around the world to News Cycle on Global Television, coming to you live from the nation's capital, Abuja. I am Uyi Abumofobe, reminding our viewers that we are on DSTV channel 365 and Star Times channel 276. We begin this news by telling you former President Muhammadu Buhari is dead. He died today in a clinic in London after a brief illness. This was confirmed in a statement issued by his former special advisor in media, Garba Shehu. The former president was aged 82 years. In the meantime, President Bola Tinubu has sent a condolence message to the family and dispatched Vice President Kashif Shettima to London, United Kingdom, to bring back the late president's body. Global Television will keep you posted on developments regarding this breaking news. In a different development, President Bola Tinubu says he has directed the completion of some abandoned projects in the Niger Delta region. The president stated this at the plenary session of the 25th anniversary celebration of the Niger Delta Development Commission (NDDC) held in Port Harcourt, Rivers State capital, where he was represented by Secretary to the Government of the Federation, George Akume, noting that the 750-kilometer Lagos-Calabar Coastal Highway will serve as a viable alternative to the East-West Road. President Tinubu also reaffirmed the significance of the Niger Delta region to the country's economic prosperity, describing it as the goose that lays the golden egg. In a related development, the former president, Goodluck Jonathan, has called for continuity in the leadership of the Niger Delta Development Commission to ensure that development projects are completed and not left abandoned. The former president made the statement during plenary session of the Commission's 25th anniversary celebration held in Port Harcourt. He attributed the high number of abandoned projects across the region to the frequent changes in the leadership of the Commission. The House of Representatives Committee on Federal Polytechnics and Higher Technical Education has strongly criticized the leadership of polytechnics across the country for shunning a key meeting aimed at reforming technical education in the country. Our correspondent Anita Patrick reports.
At a session held at the National Assembly in Abuja, Chairman of the committee, Honorable Fad Lagunda, expressed deep disappointment over the poor turnout of polytechnic rectors invited for the high-level engagements. Out of the several invitations sent out, less than 30% of the rectors showed up, sparking concerns about what the lawmakers describe as a worrying lack of interest in ongoing efforts to reposition the polytechnic sector.
The reason why we want to hold this meeting today, it cannot be achieved because one, less than 30% of you are in attendance. Secondly, you do not adhere to the instructions given to you, the people you should be here with for the meeting.
The visibly upset chairman did not mix words, accusing the absentees of showing disregard for legislative oversight. He warned that the committee may consider sanctions against institutions that fail to honor future engagements or ignore clear directives.
We have called this meeting to ask that is there something that you are holding as grudges against us, or there's something we're supposed to be doing that we are not doing for you.
In a bid to calm tensions, some of the rectors present apologized for the low turnout and assured the committee of their readiness to cooperate moving forward.
I would like to appeal to you that we are very much happy with what you have said, and on behalf of my colleague, we would like to make all the necessary amends and respond to information that you require for us, please. On behalf of myself and the other colleagues, I'm sure it's not out of disrespect, sir, or not considering you, sir, but actually there is issue of communication, possibly. In view of that, sir, I want to plead that, at least for myself that I can speak for, I shall be able to respond to every request that has been presented.
In our protecting, but to need to respond to all members of the House, we take them seriously, and assuring you that I always direct the personal unit to make sure that all our presentations are submitted.
Despite the conciliatory tone, the committee mandated that continued neglect of such critical engagements would no longer be tolerated. The meeting was convened to chart a path forward for technical and vocational education, but lawmakers say that goal was undermined by the poor attendance. Anieti Patrick, Global Television News.
The House of Representatives Committee on Constitutional Review says it is conceiving a bill seeking to amend the Constitution to reform the mode of appointing the chairman of the Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) by involving the National Judicial Council (NJC) in order to enhance the independence, credibility, and transparency of the appointment process. The panel recommended that the power to appoint INEC board be transferred from the President to the Judicial Council, while its funding is to be a first-line charge on the Consolidated Revenue Fund. The House of Representatives has also begun a sweeping investigation into alleged unethical practices in the disbursement of student loans under the Nigerian Education Loan Fund, also called NELFund. Our correspondent Anieti Patrick has details.
The probe follows a resolution passed by the House in May mandating a joint committee to look into alleged financial irregularities in Nigerian Education Loan Funds (NELFund) operations. Concerns raised include fund diversion, regulatory breaches, and other unethical practices said to be undermining the integrity of the student loan scheme. But at this investigative hearing, key stakeholders were notably absent, prompting lawmakers to issue a 48-hour ultimatum to the Central Bank of Nigeria, the Ministers of Finance and Education, and other relevant bodies to submit their memoranda. The National Orientation Agency condemns the alleged misconduct, calling it sabotage against both citizens and government efforts to expand access to higher education.
This hearing is therefore structured to achieve specific objectives. First, to verify the authenticity of the reported allegations of mismanagement and lack of due diligence in the loan approval and disbursement processes.
Lawmakers warn that administrative failures and deliberate abuse must not be allowed to derail a policy as crucial as students' financing. At a technical session, committee members questioned the unexplained absence of NELFund's Director of Finance and criticized the agency's failure to present documentation supporting its appropriations and expenditures. In his presentation, NELFund Managing Director Akintunde Soya disclosed that the agency has received a total of 203 billion naira, comprising 10 billion from the national budget and 143 billion from TETFund and 50 billion recovered by the EFCC as proceeds of crime.
To objectively look into the allegations before us, to interrogate the operational processes guiding the disbursement of student loans, to examine compliance within existing legal and ethical frameworks, to recommend actionable solutions to ensure that the student loan system fulfills its intended purpose.
There are issues that we may likely must have to call the finance minister, and that means the public hearing is now being delayed by you, and therefore, Mr. Chairman, that is the way to go about it. Let him just provide some of this information, since he has the resolutions, and every other agency here representing his institution should also have this resolution.
As the investigation deepens, the House says it will leave no stone unturned to ensure transparency and restore public trust in the Student Loan Initiative. Anieti Patrick, Global Television News.
The House of Representatives Committee on Hydrological Services and Hydroelectric Power Producing Areas Development Commission has called for a coordinated national response to the rising threat of floods across Nigeria. Chairman of the committee, Pascal Agbodike, says urgent action is needed, particularly in high-risk areas near major dams and flood-prone communities. Again, our National Assembly correspondent, Anieti Patrick, reports.
At an interactive session in Abuja with key stakeholders, Chairman of the House Committee on Hydrological Services and Hydroelectric Power Producing Areas Development Commission, HYPADEC, Honorable Pascal Abodike raised alarm over Nigerians' deepening flood crisis, blaming it on climate change, unplanned urban growth and crumbling infrastructure. The lawmaker outlined 4 urgent areas for government action: boosting public awareness, enhancing flood forecasting, rehabilitating critical infrastructure and adopting climate resilience policies.
Deploying technology for accurate weather forecasting and the real-time flood alerts will significantly help to curb reoccurring flood disasters.
In another development, the committee has summoned the Minister of Transportation and Managing Director of the Nigerian Railway Corporation. Lawmakers say both officials must answer questions about their roles in Mokwa flood disaster, which claimed lives and left scores displayed.
Because you generate powers from all this dam. So as you are taking from the people, you also know that you also join us in preventing any of such occurrences again in Nigeria.
The Managing Director of Nigerian Incentive-Based Risk Sharing System for Agricultural Lending, NISAL, Aliyu Abdul Hamid, and Chairman of Mokwa Local Government, Honorable Jibril Muragi, blamed poor railway infrastructure, among other failings, for the tragic incident.
Because it was blocked. There was some infrastructure and there was some drainage that was going through the railway embankment to flow down the river Dengi. Now, what happened was, after the inundation, they blocked completely.
With rainfall expected to intensify in the upcoming weeks, the committee insists that proactive, coordinated action is now a matter of national urgency. Annie T. Patrick, Global Television News.
Oh, thank you so very much, Amity, for your reporting. Now let's turn to other stories for you. Residents of the Federal Capital Territory, FCT, are lamenting what they have described as the unprecedented hardship as rental prices surge. The tenants report staggering price increase in the housing sector as the cost of living has taken a new turn. Sadia Yakubu has details.
The Nigerian capital, Abuja, once known for its affordable housing and well-planned districts, is now among the most expensive cities to live in West Africa. But what's driving these rent hikes? From high-rise apartments in the center of Abuja to modest flats in most areas, one thing is clear: rent and property prices have skyrocketed, rising by more than 100% in some areas in less than 2 years. Nigerians attribute the rent on inflation and naira devaluation, which have pushed the cost of building materials to record highs.
High cost of building materials in the market. A bag of cement was sold last 2 years for 4,500 and or even less, but now we are getting it for almost 10,000 naira. At least with that, you'll see that the cost of building houses now in Abuja is very, very on the high side.
Now that things are very expensive, things are on the high side in the market, you get like you say, okay, I just start building that property now and I'm going to buy cement. Cement is like okay on the high side, and then all these materials, building materials are high. But these properties, you've made gain because it has been there for ages. So now what's the main reason? I just want to understand what is the main reason that landlords and caretakers are increasing the price.
There you have it, mixed reactions trailing the surge in affording a rent in the nation's capital. The appeal is for the government to intervene, especially in the satellite towns for the citizenry. Sadia Yakubu, Global Television.
Sadia, they're helping us to track the surge in housing and rental issues around the Federal Capital Territory. Thank you so very much. We appreciate it. As humanitarian aid continues to pour in for victims of the recent water attack in Benue State, displaced residents are calling for the rebuilding of their community to enable resettlements in their ancestral homes rather than remaining in camps. This follows recent reports that internally displaced persons, IDPs, had rejected the state government's resettlement efforts, citing insecurity and poor planning. Our correspondent in Benue State, Felicity Indere, visited the affected area and the Makurdi International Market, where some victims are currently taking refuge, and brings us this report.
It has been a month of mixed emotions and profound uncertainty for victims of the deadly attack on Yewata community, which claimed over 200 lives and left many displaced.
My humble appeal is that if the government could help us and bring us back to our ancestral home, we were not meant to be in IDPs.
Survivors say the community continues to suffer silent, sporadic attacks following the horrific incident of June 13, further worsening their plight. They are now appealing for the complete rebuilding of the community, especially the market, alongside the provision of basic amenities and adequate security to help them return to normal life.
Every of things have been destroyed, and we are managing from this primary school. Is the place that we are sleeping, and there is no way to go in farm, no way to eat, no way to do some other things. And now we need the security so that they can help us, because as this thing happened, no way to go farm.
We need to build that market, because when you do that, number one, you are giving us hope. Again, the clinic that I told you that we have a clinic here is down. Nothing is happening here. Part of them is gone down.
The Minister of Humanitarian Affairs and Poverty Reduction, Professor Namtawe Yewada, visited Yewata community on the President's directive, announcing plans to rebuild the community through a comprehensive response focused on peace building, humanitarian aid, and long-term development.
We are looking at both the human and material destruction that took place in this place. Human lives were lost, buildings were destroyed, businesses were destroyed, livelihoods were destroyed, and to us as a government we see this as serious and unacceptable, and we must respond to it as quick as possible to restore life, restore security, and ensure that livelihoods return back to these people of this community, and that's why we're here.
The minister also met with key stakeholders at the government house in Makurdi for a needs assessment exercise, assuring that peace would soon return to Yewata and other crisis-hit communities in Benue State. In Makurdi, Felicity Indere, reporting for Global TV News.
Oh, thank you, Benue State correspondent there, Felicity Indere. You're watching a live broadcast of News Cycle. When the rest of the news returns, European Union chief delays retaliation in search of deal in response to U.S. tariffs. Details coming shortly, plus business and sports stories for you on the other side of this break. Please do stay with us. Thank you for staying with us here on News Cycle. The second part of this bulletin now returns with business, where the Socio-Economic Crisis and Accountability Project, SERAP, has filed a lawsuit against the Nigeria National Petroleum Company Limited over what it described as failure to account for and explain the whereabouts of the alleged missing 825 billion naira, as well as $2.5 billion meant for refinery rehabilitation and other revenues. The group's Deputy Director, Kalawale Oluwadare, stated this in a statement where he said the suit followed allegations documented in the 2021 audited report by the Auditor General of the Federation, Adolphus Aguru, which was published on November 27, 2024. The federal government has announced that contractors bidding for public projects will soon be required to present a certificate of subscription to the Standards Organization of Nigeria Digital Standards Platform as part of their pre-qualification documents. The The directive was disclosed in a joint statement issued by the Bureau of Public Procurement and Standards Organization of Nigeria following a strategy meeting held at its headquarters in Abuja. The organization explained that the bill supports the integration of Nigerian industrial standards into federal procurement in line with President Bola Tinubu's Nigeria First policy with approved national standards. The Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, has announced that 301st meeting of the Monetary Policy Committee, MPC, where key interest rate decisions are made, will take place on Monday, July 21st and Tuesday, July 22nd, 2025. The Apex Bank gave this notice, saying the meeting will be held at its head office in Abuja. Let's go to the foreign scene now. European Union Commission President Ursula von der Leyen says Brussels will continue to hold off on retaliating against the United States steel and aluminum tariffs as it seeks a deal to avoid broader 30% levies. She further stated that the EU has consistently aligned with the philosophy of negotiated solution.
United States President Donald Trump had thrown months of painstaking negotiations into disarray by announcing he would hammer the 27-nation bloc with sweeping 30% tariffs if no agreement is reached by August 1. The European Union Commission's current suspension of its retaliation over U.S. steel and aluminum tariffs had been set to expire overnight, Monday to Tuesday.
We have always been very clear that we prefer a negotiated solution. This remains the case, and we will use the time that we have now till the 1st of August. Since the very beginning, we have worked and now are ready to respond with countermeasures. We've prepared for this, and we can respond with countermeasures if necessary.
In the meantime, Brussels has finalized duties on U.S. goods worth around 21 billion euros in response to the levies President Trump has slapped on metal imports earlier this year, announcing in April that it was holding off on those measures to give space to find a broader trade agreement with the Trump administration. Uyi Agbomofwebe reporting for Global TV News.
And now time to take a look at sport for you. In a renewed push to ensure Nigeria's dominance in para sport, the Paralympic Committee of Nigeria has opened a national training camp in Lagos State as the country intensifies preparations for a string of major international championships. The Paralympic Committee of Nigeria, with full backing from the National Sports Commission, has officially commenced camping for para-athletes in Lagos. President of the committee, Sunday Odebode, says the camp is a critical step in Nigeria's preparations for a busy international calendar competitions, such as the World Para Championships in Santiago, Chile, the Para Athletics Grand Prix in India, as well as qualification tournaments in para table tennis, wheelchair, basketball, and para swimming. Nigeria is celebrating a strong start by its junior women's basketball team at the 2025 FIBA Under-19 World Cup in Czech Republic. The team, popularly known as the Junior D Tigers, pulled off a thrilling comeback to defeat China in their opening group match. The National Sports Commission has since hailed the performance, describing it as a victory for belief, preparation, and Nigerian resilience. With just 4 days till the start of the third African Under-18 and 20 Athletics Championships, the Democratic Republic of Congo has become the first country to arrive in Nigeria for the highly anticipated event. The Congolese contingent touched down at the Murtala Mohammed International Airport in Lagos in the early hours of today, signaling the official commencement of arrivals for the Continental Showpiece scheduled to hold in Abeokuta, Ogun State capital. Just before we end the news, we would love to remind our viewers that former President Muhammadu Buhari has died in a hospital in London today at the age of 82, and Global Television can confirm that President Bola Tinubu has dispatched Vice President Kashim Shettima to condole formally with the family as well as return to Nigeria. With the remains of the former president, we'll continue to track that development here on our news and across other programs. And that's how we end the Global TV News Cycle. At this point, a quick reminder that we are on DSTV channel 365 and Star Times 276. Kindly follow us across all of our social media platforms using the handle at Global TV NG, as well as the other handles as you now see on your screen. I am Uyi Agumofogbe saying, as always, we appreciate you for your time with us.